Hello, everyone. My name is Ellis Johnson, and I'm coming back at you on the True North Network to bring you your Thursday night fantasy football preview. Last week, I debuted this segment. I thought it went really well. Got a couple good comments, too. Please comment on this one as well. We just want to get better and better as we go on with this. This week, we have a nice matchup. It was more exciting in the offseason when we didn't realize these two old quarterbacks might not be as good as we thought. We have Matty Meltedice and the Colts traveling to Denver to take on dangerous sandwich man Russell Wilson and his ragtag group of lads. So let's get right into this. We have a couple injuries to break down. First, and most disappointingly, to be honest, is Javonte Williams is out for the season. And this knee injury is probably worse than J.K. Dobbins. We can expect him to maybe miss some time next year, too. So that's really unfortunate. We got Melvin Gordon stepping up in that one. Speaking of Melvin Gordon, he's struggling with a bit of a neck issue. Should be good to go this week, but technically he is questionable. Last but not least, we got Jonathan Taylor. Wow, all three running backs, eh? Jonathan Taylor dealing with an ankle issue. Some speculate a high ankle sprain. Thankfully, it looks like he avoided that. He's questionable for the game. Might be a game time decision. But if he plays, you got to play him. He's the volume king. Let's get into the fantasy must-starts. First must-start we got is one of my favorite receivers. He's going a bit under the radar this year. It's Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is the WR13 on the year so far, and he has 70 yards or a score in every game so far, and he's getting the target volume from Dangerous Wilson. So, what can you do with Courtland Sutton? Well, the fact is until Wilson rights the ship, he's not going to be a WR1, but he's a rock-solid volume play when it comes to the WR2 position. I'm playing him everywhere I can. And the other thing I like is I think he's going to get a score again. The metrics weren't adding up with his usage and all the targets, and the fact that he only has one score last week. I think he doubles up again and finds it in the end zone once again. The second one is basically Courtland Sutton 2.0. On the other side of the ball, we got Michael Pittman Jr., also dealing with a bad quarterback limiting his play. However, he's been pretty good for part of it. He's been a bit banged up for another part of it. He's been a little bit all over the board, but he should be good. In his two biggest games this season, he has a combined 22 targets, almost 200 yards on the touchdown. That's really nice. Once again, WR2 numbers. So the issue with this matchup, though, is he's going to have Surtain all over him. Surtain's been an incredible corner. And the thing is that even though Adams put 100 yards on him last week, who else is he going to cover in this week? Adams has a lot of other people to worry about, but the thing is Surtain is almost unstoppable right now. And it might limit him, making him more of a low-end WR2 for me, and I don't see much upside. So I'm a little bit worried about how he performs this week. Last but not least, I got Jonathan Taylor coming as my third must-start. Basically, if he plays, you're playing him. If he's not, obviously you don't play him. But either way, he's the RB21 in the season. Before he got hurt last week, he was 20 carries for like 41 yards. He hasn't looked the same. And part of this is just due to the offense not looking the same. So it's hard to blame it all on him. Fact is, coming off of an injury like this on a short week, I don't have him as high as most people do. If he does play, probably to me, he's coming as that RB15 because I can't imagine he gets the full workload once again, but you still got to play him because he's Jonathan Taylor and he's great. Now, solid starts. Let's get on a better note here because we got Dangerous Wilson slamming his sandwich and getting into the solid starts for the first time this season. Russell Wilson had a really good week last week, throwing 2 touchdowns, rushing for a touchdown, and kind of looking like himself last week, which was really nice. Plus, the week before, he had a glimpse of that too in that final drive against probably the best defense in the league on the 49ers. So we've seen him might turn a page here. I'm kind of excited for this one. Tough losing Javonte Williams, and the Colts are middle of the pack as a defense, but you know what? I'm optimistic. I think he's going to turn it around. Don't have him as a top-end QB1, but let's say high QB2, low QB1 option in Superflex leagues. Now, the other solid start I got is Melvin Gordon. Javonte out, he's the only guy they trust. He has fumbled 4 times in 4 games, and he can't keep doing that, otherwise I'm not going to trust him for much longer. But he's a veteran. He's shown he still has the juice. He's looked pretty solid, and he's going to get the majority of this work. I don't care that Mike Boone got more touches last week after Javonte was hurt, and that the team signed Latavius Murray. I do think Melvin Gordon's the guy, and he should be really good for the rest of the year. He's a volume RB2, in my opinion, probably low-end RB2 in this matchup, but that's him for the rest of the year. So we'll move right on to the flex considerations. I'm piggybacking off of Taylor here. If Taylor doesn't play, Nyheim Hines probably makes the solid start options. And if he does play, he's probably flex consideration because he has 5 targets in every game so far this season. He's probably going to get even more considering Taylor's probably not playing full snaps here. So he's a full PPR flex option. He has some explosiveness. And I think Matt Ryan's going to be forced to dump it off more than he'd like this week, really helping out Nyheim Hines. The other flex option Fortunately, it's Jerry Jeudy. I don't know how he can have so much talent and still be disappointed for fantasy, but I'm kind of hoping he turns it around. Last week, he finally found the end zone, which was really nice. He has actually 2 touchdowns on the season. And he's had a big game. Week 1 against Seattle, he got 102 yards, really nice game. But then in his other 2 fully healthy games, he has 17 and 53 yards. We don't know what we're going to get from him, and that's what makes him a flex option. He's clearly behind Sutton when it comes to who Russell Wilson wants to target. Now for the fun stuff. Matty Meltedice. Now, would you believe me if I said he's had 9 fumbles this year? He's only lost 3 of them, so probably not. But the fact is he's had 9. He's also thrown 5 interceptions. He's been brutal. A lot of that's on him, but at the same time, he only really has Michael Pittman. For the tight end of the week, because it changes every week, don't know who it is this week, but Mo Alley-Cox caught 2 touchdowns last week, and he's trying to make it work outside of Michael Pittman. Alec Pierce is looking decent. We'll talk about him later. But Matt Ryan, if you take out the one brutal week against the Jags, he's finished between 12 and 17 fantasy points every single week. So we'll make him a low-end QB2 play because he's just steady, and I don't think we'll get another Jags performance where he's going to be that bad. Now, going into the guys we got to sit. The 2 tight ends in this matchup, or the main ones at least, is Mo Alley-Cox and Alberto. Now, Mo Alley-Cox, he did catch the 2 touchdowns, but the week before, it's Jelani Woods. We don't know who it's going to be again. Ryan, you want to take a touchdown shot? Sure, throw him in there, but I'm not touching him in redraft leagues. Alberto Guebenon has been really hit-miss, actually just missed basically this entire year despite all the hype. He has only 45 yards and 6 receptions in the 4 games. You can't touch him. That's not the production you want. Alec Pierce is a guy in the sit section, at least for me. However, he's been looking very promising. He's been quite a nice rookie as a second-round pick from the Colts team this year. Pierce has been pretty good. He had a really nice game, put up 10 fantasy points last week, 7 the week before. He's looking like the clear second option to Michael Pittman. It's worth keeping an eye out on him. And he might be worth a shot on DFS formats this week with Surtain probably covering Pittman most of the time. Second last guy I got is KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler's been super disappointing. Another second-round guy from only for the Broncos from a couple years ago. And he has a speed. He's looked really good. He finally connected with Wilson for his first big target and catch on the season of 55 yards. You can't trust that, though. Not even in DFS league. He's way too not involved. So let's get to the last guys. Mike Boone and Latavius Murray, like we said with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon keeps fumbling. Mike Boone maybe has a chance of being relevant. But the fact they signed Latavius Murray isn't just a depth move. I think it shows that they're not too super keen on Boone. He did have 2 really bad drops on the last drive of the game. As a result, you can't start them. See what they do this week. Definitely roster them. Maybe Boone makes a point. Maybe Boone actually breaks out a little bit and looks a bit better than Gordon. Who knows? But this week, no, can't do it. And that's it for my start sits. So let's get to the Ellis's picks. Last week we did pretty well. We called Joe Mixon's touchdown right. We called the spread right. We just missed the over-under. So this week I'm looking to hit the over-under, and I really want to get the spread as well because we're rolling at 3-1 on my spread picks so far. Right now, it's a tough matchup, but I actually really like where the line's set. Broncos are favored by 3 points. I think that's excellent. I think they're the better team from top to bottom. And I think at home against a Colts team that's looked horrific except for potentially one game against the Kansas, I really think they got this. Give me the 3 points. I like the even number 2. 3 points on the dot all day long, Broncos. And the other one is the under. Both these quarterbacks haven't looked great, and both these defenses have looked quite solid. Can't imagine it's going to be a high-scoring affair, but I'm hoping I'm right on this one. It's been a little bit. So under 43.5. It's a relatively high total than what I was expecting, to be honest, especially when you got injuries to Williams and potentially Jonathan Taylor. Colts really needs him to perform. So here we are. We got Broncos -3, under 43.5. And I'm also calling Cortland Sutton to get a second touchdown of the year because the targets are all there for him. Boom. Just like that, we're done the second week, or week 5 at least, of the Thursday night previews. Catch you next week. Hope you all have a great day, and hey, enjoy your football.
My pretty baby kissed another. Stop my dad up on my feet.